Heading today's Channel 4 racing team is Bruff Scott now as we hoof it over to Newmarket.
Channel 4 Racing, sponsored by the Daily Mirror.
Hello everyone, and Newmarket faces its first ever classic weekend with truly festival weather. Welcome to the Madigan Guineas Festival, which over the next 3 days will answer some special questions. Tomorrow, Celtic Swing will show whether he's truly the wonder horse we've been waiting for, or just another runner we've subjected to overhype. On Sunday, Willie Carson will know if he's made the right decision in the 1,000 guineas, picking Aquarid rather than Araya after agonising days of indecision. And today, French Breeders' Cup star Tikkanen comes over top-rated for the Jockey Club Stakes, hoping to avoid some of the shock results which have bedeviled this race in recent years. Silver Whisper 20-1 turn up last May, Sapiens 3 years ago at 40-1, Rosie Turn before that at almost 9-1.
Well, because of the very dry and very hot weather they've had here at Newmarket, they've been watering this straight mile here for the past 10 days. They've put 1 million gallons of water on it, which means the official ground is good. But what about the jockeys who rode in the first race? I sought the views of Willie Ryan.
It's fast. It's pretty firm. There's no jar in it, but you know, it's firm enough.
And what about the fact that they're not going to water tonight? Is it going to be extra fast tomorrow for the Guineas and the 1,000 on Sunday?
I guess if we have a day like this tomorrow, it will be, but I don't know. It's there's no jar on the ground at the moment. They've done the best they can. They've put loads of water on, and you know, the grass is very green, but like I said, there's no jar in it. It's just pretty fast.
Well, many people say that Celtic Swing won't like the fast ground, but don't forget he did win on firm ground last season, and tomorrow he'll face 10 opponents in the Colts Classic. The two absentees, the two who were withdrawn at the overnight stage, were Montjoy and Dettori, which means there'll be 11 runners going to post for the 1995 Madigan's 2,000 Guineas at 3:40 tomorrow afternoon.
And if you're a Celtic Swing backer, the place to be is at Newmarket tomorrow to come racing. I believe the course bookmakers are going to oppose Celtic Swing. Now, in the offices this morning, 11-8 on, 6-4 on was generally the price against Celtic Swing with the 10% tax. That's roughly bottle on, 2-1 on. But here on the track, you can now bet at this moment 5-4 on Celtic Swing. Now, I think some of the big firms will be out to get it, so it could be at a better price even in the offices, but there's no doubt coming racing. That's the place to be if you're a Celtic Swing backer. As for the Madigan's 1,000 guineas, because Carson's on Aquarid, sure to go our favourite Aquarid over Haraya, the horse he could have ridden, of course. So with Aquarid certain to be favourite, and at a short price at around 9-4, they're saying Aquarid, but Celtic Swing. If you want to back Celtic Swing, and I don't, I'm a penny camp man, if you want to back Celtic Swing, come racing. The bookmakers here, tax-free, they'll give you the value.
Official going good here after all that watering. 4 races live, starting at 2:35, the London Evening Standard Handicap, 6 runners over a mile. The Madigan's Newmarket Stakes is over a mile and a quarter at 3:5. 5 runners headed by the unbeaten Derby entry presenting. At 3:40, the Madigan's Jockey Club Stakes over a mile and a half, 7 runners. Yorkshire Oaks Heroine Only Royale are the Italian Derby winner Time Star, and French colt Tikkanen, who ended last season in Breeders' Cup triumph at Churchill Downs. Finally, the March Handicap over 7 furlongs. The 2 non-runners, number 5 Doctor's Glory and number 11 Speedbird, are out. That leaves 9 to face the starter in that.
And in the Newmarket Stakes, presenting is a 40-1 chance at this moment for the Vodafone Derby, put on 6-4 on to win this traditional Derby trial, the Newmarket Stakes. The Jockey Club Cup, they're going 6-4 Tikkanen, 11-4 against Sacrament and Burlington Bertie, 100-30 Only Royale, and the one steamer of the day is in the 4-15, number 7 Royal Rebuke, Lots of each-way bets on that at 12 and 10 to 1 early, but of course 2 withdrawals now, 9 to 2 against Royal Rebuke. Lipizzana, the Burlington Bertie, 100 to 30 favourite. And in this race, the London Evening Standard handicap, well, Chris Poole of the London Standard goes for Atlal, number 2, not the hurdler and the chaser that we know so well. This is, of course, the 3-year-old Atlal, and is now challenging for favouritism, and it is now joint favourite at 5 to 2. Atlal, who's come in from 3 to 1, with NORDIC very weak from 7 to 4, out to 5 to 2. The favourites could be flip-flopping. Carson on his near minimum mark on Mr. Frosty at 7-11 is 7 to 2, and 6 to 1 of the top Brave Revival. But Chris Poole of the sponsors, the London Evening Standard, goes for Atlal, and the punters are joining him in here too. 5 to 2, joint favourite.
They've been called the unsung heroes of the turf, and once the race is off, you forget all about them. But the starting stall handlers play a very important role in racing day in and day out. And after the Sergeyev affair at Kempton recently, where they really did masterfully well, we'll be popping down to talk to the lads down at the start. But what about the horses who get injured in races and also on the gallops? Well, today we'll be having a look at 2 new horse boxes for the horses who are injured on the gallops here at Newmarket, the race courses. They've been given by Moller Racing, and we'll be taking a look at what new innovations they've got to help the horses who get injured on this historic turf. Now, dial your duo. You've only got a few minutes because the first race we've got live, 2:35. Pick 2 horses you think will finish in the first 3. We'll give you £100 if you get it right and your name comes out of the hat first. The number to dial, pick 2 out of the first 3 in this 2:35 and dial 0891 777 911.
This first race, as John said, the London Evening Standard handicap. It's for 3-year-olds rated 0 to 90. It's over the straight Guineas Mile. We'll ever see by the time just how quick the ground is riding. There are 6 runners, and here's Graham with the list.
And stalls are placed in the centre of the track, and Brave Revival at 6 to 1, Walter Swinburne. Atlal 5 to 2, joint favourite with Richard Hills. NORDIC Doll also trades 5 to 2, joint favourite with Michael Hills, the 2 brothers on a double. Mr. Christie is 25 to 1 with David Harrison, Maplestead 20 to 1, Dale Gibson, and Mr. Frosty at 7 to 2 with Willie Carson. That's the lineup then for this London Evening Standard handicap.
The wind across the course, the record time 1:35.08. Surprised if they get too close to that. Here's the eye catchers. Maplestead was stood out in the paddock. Brave Revival, the top one, looked best going down, and in the ring Atlal is the buzz, and the boom is NORDIC Doll. And watching them go down and peering at them now through what's now becoming a heat haze, Jim McGrath and John Franklin.
Yeah, there's something for everybody in this race, Bruff. And the horse we're looking at now, Atlal, probably not quite the tallest, because that would certainly go to the filly NORDIC Doll, but he's certainly a powerfully made colt, this Atlal. He's had just the 1 run so far this season. That was where we saw him win over 7 furlongs at Kempton. Extra furlong here this afternoon. And Jim, that looked as though it would suit him.
Yes, the way he ran there certainly suggested a mile would suit him. A little bit difficult to weigh up at 2. He was easy to back in both his starts, ran promisingly first time but disappointingly second. There's no doubt he's got some scope. He's already shown he's got some ability, and lightly raced, he's open to improvement. Definite chance.
NORDIC Doll, tall, leggy filly, and like Atlal, just 1 run and 1 win, and her win came up at Thurskin, what looked to be quite a moderate sort of race, but she couldn't have won any easier than she did. Came home by 4 lengths, and whatever she does, she's going to improve throughout the season. She's got a lot of making up to do, and she could be quite useful.
The first race was not a strong one, but she couldn't have done it any easier. A little bit hard to assess in terms of pure form. Overall, a little bit disappointing, but then Barry Hill's horses, generally speaking, weren't at their best for most of last season. So rather like Atlal, something of an unknown quantity, but at least an in-form one. John, the top weight, Brave Revival, a sturdy filly on the small side. She holds a Coronation Stakes entry, and they only appeared this week, so she must be showing something at home. But to me, she looks like the type we may have seen the best of.
Yeah, she looked as though she could improve. Whatever she does this afternoon, I'd be surprised if she doesn't step up on it from here on. And certainly the 2 or 3 that caught the eye in front of her, and Mr. Frosty was one of those. He was disappointing last time out, this horse of Woody Jarvis's. That was on soft surface. Prior to that, he'd run behind a decent horse called Mr. Fire Eyes, who's very consistent, and he's a good type of horse. Looks like a miler, Mr. Frosty.
The interesting thing here, John, you mentioned Ripon and the race prior to that at Doncaster. One was 7 furlongs, one was 10 furlongs. He finished strongly at Doncaster. He definitely appeared not to stay next time at Ripon in a race that's worked out quite well. Well, here he is at a mile, if you like, almost the in-between distance. He's pretty well handicapped if they've got the trip finally correct. Mac, any news?
Atlal is proving much stronger than Nordic Doll. 5-2 is very tight. Some bookmakers going 9-4. They just did go 11-4 against Nordic Doll, and I heard a £5,500 a 2-bet going in. So it's generally 5-2 each of 2. Stronger is Atlal. 7-2 Mr. Frosty, 6 Brave Revival, and Maplestead has been back. That's the eye catch of the paddock, guys. Well, it's in from 20-1 now to 100-8, 12-1 Maplestead. They've obviously seen something in the paddock, and the punters have picked it up here.
Well, Maplestead's running 3 maiden races. They've been won by a decent maiden of Henry Cecil's last time out at Kempton, and by Annas Mirabilis and Bishop of Cashel, so he's kept pretty good company. OK, he hasn't actually troubled the judge on any 3 of those occasions, but he's shown signs of ability and is in with a bargain basement 65 here, and he ain't a 20-1 shot.
Dale Gibson, who's got the mount on this one, but Simon Holt's the man who's calling them home, and Simon spent a little time standing on the side of the M25 this morning, I believe.
Yes, John. It's a lovely day for a walk, but not along the hard shoulder of the M25. I hope these horses perform rather better than my car. This is the last one to go in, Maplestead, in the white jacket, light blue chevron, Dale Gibson riding, just needing a bit of encouragement, this colt by Sharif Dancer. Nordic Doll and Atlal sharing favouritism at 5-2, Mr. Frosty at 7-2, and then 6-1 Barlows. The 6 runners just about lined up for this London Evening Standard Handicap, and Brave Revival bounced out well together with Mr. Frosty, and these two go on in the early stages. They've already got a break of 2 lengths on the others, headed by Atlal, and then Maplestead, who's pulling very hard round the outside, straining the reins into 3rd place as they cover the first furlong. And it's Brave Revival near side by a half length to Mr. Frosty, and then Maplestead back in 3rd place towards the outside. Those are the leading 3 at this stage. Behind those, the sheepskin noseband on Atlal with the blue jacket there, worn by Richard Hills. Further back to Nordic Doll, and Mr. Christie is the last horse of the 6. Heading down inside the final 5 furlongs now, and Brave Revival continuing to do the donkey work from Mr. Frosty and Maplestead, who won't settle. Here's Graham Goode in the grandstand.
And nudging 40 miles an hour, they really are stepping on it. Brave Revival just has the edge. Atlal, the stripe cap on the right. The white sleeve jacket, Mr. Frosty. Further left is Maplestead in the light blue. Wouldn't go early and then suddenly decided to rush. Nordic Doll's getting closer now, and significantly closer at that. And the back marker out pace is Mr. Christie, and they've got just under 3 furlongs to go. And Brave Revival still on the front end. Here goes Mr. Frosty further left. Look towards the right. Atlal flourished with a flourish last time when he won at Kempton, but isn't doing so at this stage. Brave Revival still has the edge, just crinkling up and going on by a length. Here comes Nordic Doll, the winner, and the previous winner on the extreme right. They come down into the dip, and it's Brave Revival the far side and Nordic Doll, and these two do battle. And it's Nordic Doll and Brave Revival who's rallying. Going to be very close, this. Nordic Doll, the stand side, just getting on. Brave Revival's digging deep, and at the post, a photo. That's close. Brave Revival, Nordic Doll from in 3rd place, Mr. Christie. Then came home Mr. Frosty, and the field trail back to Atlal. And so the outcome of this, the London Evening Standard Handicap, it's a photo. And it's a very close call indeed between Brave Revival and Nordic Doll. Nordic Doll nearest to us, Brave Revival the far side. A very close call indeed, and which one has got his nose out? Nordic Doll is in the pale blue and yellow jacket. Michael Hill's nearest to us. I believe on the day that Brave Revival got there, Walter Swinburne, and from the other side, where they do look a little bit remote, don't they? Very small horses in this little bit of a heat haze here. Brave Revival is on the left here in the Walter Swinburne, the red colours, white sash, blue cap. Nordic Doll with the benefit of a run and the benefit of a win, with Michael Hills, the trainer Barry Hills, on the right, and they're absolutely locked together as they come up towards the line. Is it Brave Revival? Is it Nordic Doll? I wouldn't be at all surprised to see some betting in the ring on this. Which horse has got its head in front on the line?
Well, whatever the outcome of the photo, there's no doubt that so-called paddock pundits are wrong, because Brave Revival has run a wonderful race. John thought she might just need it. I thought we might have seen the best of her, but what a terrier-like display. She bounced out. Walter Swinburne was quick to let her get on and take the lead from Mr. Frosty. And under 9-7, she battled on really well up the hill. Thought at this stage that Nordic Doll just hung away a little bit in the dip and tended to drift away into the whip with Michael Hills all the way up the hill too. Might still peg her back, and there's no doubt that near the finish Nordic Doll goes a neck up, but at the line, as Graham's told you, Walter Swinburne's mount Brave Revival is fighting back really bravely, and it is literally, as they say, on the nod.
As you can see, desperately close. John Turner on the boards did go evens. Brave Revival, they have taken that. They're now asking for 6-4 on each of two. That's Nordic Doll and Brave Revival. I'll give you the starting prices. Nordic Doll is sent off the 5-2 joint favourite. Brave Revival is a 6-1 chance. The third, Mr. Christie, went off at a pony 25-1, but evens was taken, Brave Revival, and there's a huge Citroen screen right in the centre of the track. All the punters are looking at it. They saw the freeze frame of Channel 4's, and they all gasped because they just did not know which one had won. The bookmakers don't know, and it generally 6-4 on, so they have backed Brave Revival at evens to get the verdict with the judge.
Well, a thrilling finish to the first race of the afternoon. ...50 yards from the post, and then Walter Swinburne just forcing Brave Revival up as he shared the spoils. He's got a pleased look on his
face, isn't she? This side.
Jimbo, has that big nose prevailed? Well, if you believe it has, even money they're now calling down the rails against Nordic Doll with 5-4 on. They're asking for Brave Revival. It could not be closer as far as the bookmakers are concerned. You've seen the pictures yourself, and I just hear 11-10. 11-10 against Nordic Doll, so they're feeling down on the rails, and if one is won outright, it could be the top one, Brave Revival, but they've done evens each of two, and now 11-10 against Nordic Doll, 5-4 on Brave Revival.
Well, the bookmakers are indicating that maybe Brave Revival has won, but neither jockey wanted to go in. And certainly if I had to bet on the Channel 4 pictures, I'd actually go for Nordic Doll, but they're betting the other way. There'll be a moment or two before the judge can sort it out. Simon's got news for you.
You need a bit of luck now.
I beg your pardon, I said Simon. It is, of course, Rawley.
Thanks, Jim. Yes, the early results. The first one at Hamilton Park. Jimmy Fitzgerald's La Volta scores on her debut from the experienced Whittle Rock. First, number 2, La Volta at 5-1. Second, number 6, Whittle Rock, the 5-2 joint favourite. And third, number 1, Corniche Quest at 6-1. The other joint favourite was number 4, Muna El Arab, 6th round. And the 225 at Newton Abbot. Vision of Freedom made every yard of the running to continue the great run being enjoyed by the champion conditional jockey Tony McCoy. First, number 3, Vision of Freedom, 7-2 favourite. Second, number 8, X Cracker, 5-1. And the third, number 10, Mildred Sophia at 25-1. There were 3 non-runners there, 2 decided, 9 absolutely right, and 11 jumping judge. 8 round.
And we have confirmation of the London Evening Standard, and there is our winner. That's Brave Revival in the colours of the Cheveley Park stud, this dancing brave filly, homebred, trained by Michael Stout and ridden by Walter Swinburne. Second horse home is number 3, Nordic Doll, in the colours of Mr. J. Peter Williams, trained at Lambourne by Barry Hills, ridden by Michael Hills, going down by the shortest margin. And the third horse home is number 4, Mr. Christie, in the colours of David Mann Partnership, trained at Tadcaster by Lynn Siddle, and ridden at a pound overweight. Didn't make any difference to David Harris. Let's just check. Seeing is believing. And on the far side, Brave Revival's just got her head down. Nordic Doll's head is just coming up, and that makes the inch difference at the end of a mile.
And this was the SP. First, number 1, Brave Revival, at 6-1. Second, number 3, the weak joint favourite at 5-2, Nordic Doll. And third, number 4, Mr. Christie at 25-1. The other joint favourite was number 2, Atlal, 6th round.
Yeah. The winning time, 1 minute 38.7, which is some 3 seconds outside the record, and significantly, it's also outside the standard time. I see that the spread betting for tomorrow's winning time will be, they're saying Celtic Swing's time is 1 minute 36.25 to 1 minute 36.75, so he's going to have to shift a bit unless the wind changes and gets behind to better that. We've had a race already. It was a 2-year-old race, the NGK Sparkplugs Arlington Maiden Auction Stakes. Quite a mouthful, but a day of trembling for the Channel 4 team because Derek Thompson, no less, had the favourite. Capture the Moment. How apt a name for a Thompson horse. Capture the Moment was Derek's filly, or part of the partnership, the really keen partnership. She was the leader in the betting. Let's see how that betting went.
Yes, Bruff, indeed, she was the leader in the betting at 15 to 8. 15 to 8, Capture the Moment. Then it was Lasurier at 3 to 1. Badger Bay went off at 7 to 2 and current leader at 7 to 1. And then Foreman at 14 to 1, Delaunay at 20s together with Dancing Lottie, and it was 25 to 1, Magic Imp.
Race away, and a little bit slow to go was Foreman in the black and orange striped colours. On the extreme right, running fast is Capture the Moment, and that's probably just a length or so off the pace, which is now being set by Badger Bay. Badger Bay and Lyceria share the early running. On the far side, current leader being taken back half a length or so. Nearest to us is Capture the Moment, and they've gone for the first furlong, and it's Badger Bay that leads. Badger Bay, Lyceria, and on the left, current leader. Here comes Capture the Moment getting closer. They come down to the bushes, and they're halfway. A little bit outpaced is Delaunay. They come down with just over 2 furlongs to go, and Capture the Moment on the extreme right. Lyceria with a noseband in the centre, and between the pair in yellow is Badger Bay. Further left with the light blue sleeves is current leader. On the extreme left in brown, Dancing Lottie. Come down into the dip, and here goes Capture the Moment into the lead, but travelling strongly is Foreman, the slow starter. They're inside the final furlong now, and it's Foreman who comes from last to first to take it up from Capture the Moment up towards the line. Foreman striding right away up the post. Foreman is the winner. Foreman takes it very close to second. Capture the Moment, Lyceria and Magic Imp running on nicely.
So Bill O'Gorman's Foreman gets off the mark at the second time of asking. First number 5, Foreman, at 14 to 1. And the tote pays very handsomely as well. Second number 2, Capture the Moment, the 15 to 8 favourite. And third number 3, Lassuria, at 3 to 1. The tote returns, win number 5, £20 and 90 pence. That's over 19 to 1. Places number 5, £2.80, number 2, £1.20, and number 3, £1 and 30 pence. The dual forecast, £31.80, and the computer straight forecast, £38.53, 8 round. And the tote returns on the 2.35 for a win, number 1, £5.80, places 1, £2.20, 3, £1.80, and the dual forecast, £12 and 80 pence, 6 round.
Foreman had run much too free last time and then finished last, and his victory here was the 99th winner of Emma O'Gorman's ever-improving career. Incidentally, the winning time, 61.1, nothing very special, which suggests, and this is important, that the watering has had quite an effect, and when they say it's good, they mean it. The ground is not riding that fast on the clock, at least.
Well, in the Jockey Club Stakes, looking ahead to the tissue, this is the bookmakers' forecast of how the betting will go. They put the French colt Tickenin in, the Earol, the 6 to 4 favourite. That's the price against Tickenin, with 11 to 4 Sacrament, Burlington Bertie, 100 to 30 only Royale, 11 to 2 Al Reefer, and 10 times Star and 20 to 1 against Garden of Heaven. Now in the 4.15 with non-runners, number 5, Doctor's Glory, and the bottom one, Speedy Bird, there's generally a deduction of 15 pence in the pound if you took prices before those two deductions. Before those two withdrawals, deductions 15 pence in the pound, and the new betting puts Lipizzaner in the Burlington Bertie 130 favourite with 4 to 1 against Zelaya, but the steamer of the day, number 7, Royal Rebuke, who's trained by Roger Charlton. He had his first winner of the season yesterday in the last at Salisbury with Mary's Way. So the stable coming into form. They backed this Royal Rebuke into 9 to 2, 9 to 2 also Noble Kingdom, and 8 to 1, 5 to 1 Pellerman, and 8 to 1 3 times. And the betting here, presenting very early, putting in 7 to 4 on presenting, 12 to 1 against Anchor Clever, 11 to 4 Solar Flight, and 4 to 1 Sotto Boy. 9 favourites and 29 runnings have won this. 3 odds on winners, 3 odds on losers. Are you prepared to bet odds on? If you are, 7 to 4 on presenting the first show from Newmarket.
And a new ambulance for Newmarket. We're having a look at that and seeing presenting put his putting his Derby claims at risk in the Newmarket Stakes. That's all after the break.
Laguna by Renault. It's all worked out beautifully.
Some years ago, to prove that nothing weathers better than Santex masonry paint, we took one lighthouse and painted it with Santex, and one lighthouse keeper, who we didn't. So there's the proof. For longer-lasting good looks, use Santex.
Now, fast-effective relief from acid indigestion comes in a new, fresh-tasting flavour. New Aniseed Rennie. For on-the-spot relief.
How much? Family knees up? In Monte Carlo? Wise decision for a Gary Glitter fan.
Every day, thousands of savers receive a cheque from Legal & General.
Now, must remember to pay the milkman.
This ray of sunshine was brought to you by the big company with the umbrella.
What the heck? Gold top tomorrow?
All right, darling. Let me just finish this and then we'll go out.
Some things in life are hard to swallow, such as paying for your home contents and buildings insurance in one large lump sum. At General Accident Direct, we let you pay by instalments without charging you a penny in interest. How appealing! For more information, call 0800 121 004. General Accident Direct, the name you can trust.
Our 3 luxury cruise ferries from Portsmouth to France are like 5-star hotels. The only difference is, you only stay one night. P&O European Ferries, Britain's #1 ferry company.
This weekend, there's an extra 10% off everything in Courts. But hurry, this offer must end Monday. There's an extra 10% off everything in Courts.
Welcome back, and this week it's not quite such a happy welcome because all of us here on Channel 4 Racing have been shocked and saddened by the sudden death of our long-time colleague John Tyrrel at his home here in Newmarket on Monday afternoon. John started out his working life as an actor. He even appeared with Noel Card and Laurence Olivier. He was involved in all aspects of television, but came into all our lives with his essential anchoring role of reading the results and betting, from which he only retired in November, and in which his early voice training paid such splendid dividends. In November, on the day of his retirement, he recalled how he broke into racing TV.
I had to play a character called the Mystery Tipster.
But they blackened you out, didn't
That's
they?
right. I
Yes.
appeared in silhouette, and the idea was that the punters had to guess who I was, which wouldn't be difficult, really, I suppose.
With a voice, like that.
But on the other hand, I also had to tip some winners, and we were a bit lucky. I managed to give some very good winners for big handicaps, and in particular, the Schweppes Gold Trophy in 1977, which was won by True Lad at 14 to 1, and that's what really set me off.
John was a great old friend. He was a great letter writer, actually, and a learned and successful racing historian. He just completed a history of the Jockey Club, and it's very hard to think we're not getting any more books or letters from him anymore. Obviously, all our sympathy, and I'm sure yours, to his family and particularly to his wife, Ginny, John Tyrrel, who died on Monday afternoon.
With over 2,500 horses in training here at Newmarket, looking after them obviously is vitally important, and that's why I'm standing next to one of 2 new horse ambulances that have been donated by Moller Racing. Now, they're for use obviously on the racing days, but also on the training days, on the gallops. This one will be used on racecourse side, the other one will be used on the Berry side. Now, with me is the man who's built them, and it is Bill Fellows. Bill, pull the back down and show us what is so special about these 2 new horse ambulances. Now, don't get injured pulling it down.
Right, there we are.
No, come on in. Let's get this side. You tell us exactly what it's about.
The partitions are like this so that the horse can be led in easily, and then when he's in, they are moved across to him to keep him in place in transit.
So therefore he can't move or anything like that.
That's right. And then if required, there is a sling which goes through these 2 holes here to support his weight.
Super. Let's just see. You can put this sling through here, and you can put that underneath, and that'll lift the horse up, so there'll be no problems, which is a good idea as well. So that's how you get the horse in. Now, what about the ramp? Can you lower these to the ground?
Yes. The very clever thing with them is that they are lowered to the ground electrically, which means that there's a very low height for the horses to climb.
So you've lowered this one. Now, what's all this contraption on the front?
This is the tow bar, but of course the ramp on this is very special because it comes out of the front of the trailer to keep the horse moving in a straight line.
Why not? I mean, normally people come out the side door,
That's
don't
right.
they, the horses?
They normally come out of the side, but with most injuries, leg, pelvis or back, the problem is that in turning they can do more damage to themselves than if they were going in a straight line.
So once you've towed this to where the horse is injured, you would then drive the tractor away. And how do you get rid of this contraption? Show us
This
how it
lot all
works.
swings to one side.
Yeah.
All neatly hinged.
Oh, that's rather good. Yeah. That goes away, and then you can pull this down.
And then the ramp comes straight down the front. And then folds out on itself to give a wide exit for the injured animal.
And it's a mat, so it's a non-slip
nice mat.
service.
It's very low. He's only got to descend about 6 inches from the trailer to the ground.
Yeah. How quick can you actually get there? Say a horse is injured racing today. I mean, you can get there, what, within 5 minutes of the moment?
Oh, yes, within 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And probably 5 minutes to load him, and then straight to the vets, and then lower the trailer and get the horse out straight into the operating theatre.
And what about the vets, the equine doctors?
Well, the vets had a lot of input on this. The trailer that's used at the moment was made in 1947, and they, really like that one because the horse goes in a straight line. It doesn't have to turn.
Yeah. So this hopefully will save lots and lots
I think
of
it will,
horses'
yeah.
lives.
Yeah.
Well, full marks. Thank you, Bill, for saying, and thanks to Moller Racing. They've got £16,000 each, these, but anything that helps save racehorses that we watch and enjoy on the course all the time, when they get injured on the track or here on the training gallops, we know they have the best possible assistance. Bill, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Derek.
Thank you.
And the result from Hamilton, the 245, first number 1, La Souque, trained by Mick Channon. This one kept going very bravely indeed to narrowly defy top weight ahead of number 3, 95, the 3 to 1 favourite, and number 4, Russian Heroine at 9 to 2. 11 round.
Now, here's a certainty, but will you get it? Dalio Duo, the 4 runners, the first 2 are miles clear in the betting. You've got to pick 2 out of the first 3 for Dalio Duo, but will it come up? Let's have a look. And the first Dali-Dura is out from before. Brave Revival, Nordic Doll, and Mr. Christie. You had to get 2 out of those 3, and who's already won £100 to John Fairbrother at Worthing. Your day started well. And for the 305, it's 0891 777 922. 0891 777 922. You've got to pick 2 out of the first 3 in this, the Newmarket Stakes. I tell you that the first 2 the betting are presenting in Solar Flight. But will there be 2 out of the first 3? We'll see. It's not always very certain. I'm afraid the computer has the final word if your name is picked out. But you have a big chance of getting it right, whether you get picked or not. So this the Madigan-sponsored Newmarket Stakes, a Derby trial in the presenting is unbeaten, holds a Derby engagement in the Sheikh Mohammed the George Strawbridge colours. John Gosden trained, George Strawbridge colours. Let's have the full list from Graham Good.
And stalls place in the centre of the track, presenting long odds on. Take 7 to 4, Frankie Dettori. Anchor Clever, a possible front runner at 20 to 1. Although Solar Flight made most when he won here last time at 130. Pat Edery, Sutter Boy taken early to post is 4 to 1 with Ray Cochran. That's the lineup for this Madigan's Newmarket Stakes.
Presenting, hacking down there with Frankie Dettori. Presenting won both his races last year and was always in control when he reappeared at Kempton 3 weeks ago.
As down the straight they come past the 2 furlong marker, and it's Commoner on the inside. Commoner on the right in red is Baltic Raider. Between the pair is Presenting and Frankie Dettori. Come down to the final furlong. Dreamer in dark green starts to pick up, and Warning Order in the yellow and grey also with a dash on the outside, but they're inside the final furlong, and it's Presenting and Commoner. Presenting edging into the lead by a neck, by a half, by 1, up towards the line. Presenting is the winner, Commoner second.
You can see Presenting, big, powerful galloper. Got a heavy galloper, really. That was Good to Firm at Kempton, but he got home all right. He's won on Good to Firm last year as well. A horse who looks he's going to improve with racing. Now, he's impressed all our pundits on the way down, and in the paddock and in the ring, he's the eye-catcher for all 3. And it's going to be a major shock to some if he gets beat. But Solar Flight has done absolutely nothing wrong on the track, at least. There he is. He's supposed to have had some steering problems at home, but when he made his first appearance in the Wood-Ditton Stakes here at the last meeting, the problems were for his rivals in catching him.
And still Solar Flight on the front end, spearheading the pack. Of the pale colours to the left is Tertium. The starred cap to the right, that's Kazaki, going to have to work now. Crystalos in the diamond cap further left, and on the extreme left, Prophet's Honour. But they come down the dip now, just over a furlong to go. And Solar Flight, never headed in the Wood-Ditton yet, is putting repellers at bay. But Kazaki gets momentum coming down the hill. Tertium in the pale colours drifts over to his right, but it's Solar Flight that set them all alight here. Solar Flight by a length up towards the line, makes all. Solar Flight takes it, Solar Flight it is, from Tertium in second.
Well, this is quite an interesting horse, Solar Flight, because apart from the fact that we know least about him, he's one that you'd say, just looking at his pedigree without going into it in any detail, wouldn't be certain to get a 1.25 miles. Yet watching the way he ran there, John, you'd say it's the one thing he wants.
Well, I'm not sure whether I entirely agree there. I just wondered whether he was going up and down on the spot in the last 50 yards. Maybe Pat was just being a little bit easy on him. Certainly they made plenty of use of the horse, and the races worked out reasonably well. Winner and a couple of thirds have come out of it.
He's by the miler Soviet Star, out of a mare who won over a mile in France, but she herself is a half sister to the Lowther Stakes winner Kingscote, out of the Sprinter miler Bold Fantasy. So there is a little bit of a doubt about his ability to last home. I think if he forces it, it will be a good gallop, because the Anchor Clever is, I think, pretty certain to go on. He forced the pace over 1.5 miles last time, eventually finishing 4th. He is out of a mare who stayed 1.25 miles by Slip Anchor, who of course won this race in his day, or its equivalent. So there's certainly the ability to get middle distances at least. He ran well at 1.5 miles. He's got no chance of beating these for speed. I expect to see Jason Weaver, as they say, take no prisoners.
The one we haven't looked at so far, Sotter Boy, having his second run of the season. He beat Zeb first time up. Zeb fancied for the Guineas. That was at Newbury last year. Then followed that with a win at Doncaster, and then didn't run a bad race over 7 furlongs in a Group 3 race at Sandown. And his first run this year was behind 2 o'clock jump at Kempton. Blomberg, Stiletto Blade finished just in front of him. Looked as though he'd improved for that run. He's a very powerful made colt, this. He's by Danehill, and he's sure to come on for that first run.
He's gone down early because he actually bolted before. He was due to have 4 runs last year, had just 3, but he bolted before his intended 4th start. But gone down well enough, quietly and alone for a Cochrane. The fact that there's a decent gallop on, I think, will suit presenting very well the favourite. Just thinking back to the video clip that Brough introduced for you prior to this, as he pointed out, a real strong galloping type. But John took all of the distance at Kempton, a sharper track than he's running on here, to assert. Still looks a little bit green there too. One would think if they go a good gallop, it'll suit Frankie ideally.
It will. Hopefully, the horse of Paul Callaway's Anchor Clever will just keep him company for a while. But he's a very impressive looking individual, this horse, and the form given a little bit of a boost with Brave Revival winning. She was beaten quite convincingly by this colt last year. But there's news from Mac.
Well, people often ask if you come racing whether it's possible to go and back every horse in the race and make a profit. Well, this race you certainly could. They have done 6-4 on Presenting, who's now Bottle on 2-1 on Presenting. Solar Flight is out to 4-1. That's been the top price, Solar Flight. Sotto Boy is an 11-2 chance from 5, and you can get 25-1 the rag. Back all 4 you would be on, but the odds on, they've betted on Presenting. I think now Presenting looks sure to win.
And Sotto Boy is the last one to go in, making up the 4-runner field for this Madigan's Newmarket Stakes. And as you heard from Jim McGrath, we think Presenting may well want a strong gallop here. It took a long time to warm up when winning at Kempton. He's right up with the pace, with Anchor Clever on the right of picture, pulling quite hard and went very freely to post. And Solar Flight, who made all the running in that Wood Ditton Stakes, is the overall leader on the far side. Solar Flight by a couple of lengths to Presenting, keeping him well within his sights. They're going a good gallop here, just above 40 miles an hour. You'll see Anchor Clever was back in 3rd and Sotto Boy in 4th as they cover the first 2.5 furlongs. Solar Flight from Presenting in the white and green jacket. Anchor Clever nearest to us in the blue and black, worn by Jason Weaver, and settling in last of the 4, Sotto Boy, who's relaxing pretty well in his race today and relaxed well on the way to the start as well. It's Solar Flight then cutting it out by a couple of lengths to Presenting. Anchor Clever racing rather wide of the other 3, intending to hang fire a little, and Sotto Boy is still held up towards the rear. Racing down towards the final 4.5 furlongs then, the pace about to quicken. Solar Flight the leader, Presenting has him well in his sights. Here's Graham Good in the grandstand.
And Pat just steadied the pace down to above 30 miles an hour, 35-ish, and the others 3 closing in now, Presenting on a much more even keel with Frankie Dettori, edging into the lead. Solar Flight can't live it, neither can Anchor Clever. Sotto Boy tries to get going. They're spread right across the track as they come down past the bushes, just over 2.5 to go. And it's Frankie Dettori on Presenting, the white jacket on the left, followed through by Sotto Boy in the orange and black, and then Solar Flight, the pink cap, and Anchor Clever. They come down past the 2, and Presenting now spreading with his field. He's clear by about 4, keeping up the gallop, and he's clear by 5. Sotto Boy in 2nd. Anchor Clever might just get 3rd, indeed will so. Solar Flight's dropped back 4th of 4, but Presenting, who's won 3 out of 3 so far, makes it 4 out of 4. Frankie Dettori coming home well clear, 10 to 12 clear up towards the line. Presenting the winner, and a very easy one to boot. Anchor Clever is 2nd, Sotto Boy is 3rd, and 4th of the 4 is Solar Flight. The result then of this, the Madigan's Newmarket Stakes, a win for the odds-on favourite, number 1 Presenting. In the colours of George Strawbridge, trained by John Gosden here at Newmarket, ridden by Frankie Dettori, for whom he was the 63rd winner of the season. Second horse home was number 2 Anchor Clever. That could have snookered a few of you duo merchants on the extreme right. Anchor Clever in the black and blue, and it's Presenting that's come home well clear here. This Toto horse is certainly improving with every race, and just look at his ears as they come past the post. Frankie's whistling at him now, and what a pretty picture. Few odds-on backers. Presenting 4 out of 4, going the right way.
Well, it's the most impressive horse in the field by far, and he's strung his 3 rivals out like a liner washing. Mind you, longer than a liner washing. I wouldn't like to peg out a liner washing the length he strung these out, but he the impressive thing about him, John, was he moved into the lead with apparent ease off a strong gallop and just maintained it. And as Graham's already pointed out at the end of the race, you wouldn't have thought he'd turned a hair.
It's also the amount of ground he covers when he gallops, got a really impressive action. And certainly seeing him up against Solar Flight, well, there's difference between chalk and cheese. Probably just getting a feel of this horse, 1.25 miles, just wondering whether he's going to stay the extra couple of furlongs. Absolutely no doubt about that. And a very exciting prospect.
The market told you that horse would not get beaten, and it won so easily, as you saw, presenting back from 6-4 on, returned bottle on, the 2-1 on favourite. The runner-up, Anchor Clever, sent off at 25-1, and his sire, Slip Anchor, won this in 1985 before going on to win the Derby, of course, for Lord Howard de Walden. The third, Soto Boy, was a 6-1 chance, and that presenting the 10th favourite in 30 runnings to win it. The fourth at odds on, Theatrical Charmer, was 5-2 on 5 years ago, and in the 80s, Henry Cecil's Prince of Dance and Mr. Fluorocarbon. And since the war, 12 winners of this 10 furlong Derby trial have gone on to run at Epsom, and 3 have won. Slip Anchor in 85, Shirley Heights in 78, and Pinzer in 1953. And 3 other of the 12 who ran in the Derby were placed at Epsom. Sheer Walk in 83, Sybil's Nephew in 51, and Radiotherapy in 1946. But of course you will remember Tenby, who won this 2 years ago, was odds on for the Derby, and was beaten by stable companion, amongst others, Commander-in-Chief. Well, the bookmakers Hills and Corals quite impressed with presenting, now showing 20-1. That's the price presenting to become the 4th horse to win the Newmarket Stakes and go on to win the Derby. And if he gets placed at Epsom, that will mean that 7 of the 13 winners to win this race and go and run at Epsom have been at least placed in the Derby. Quite a few people will be interested in presenting 20-1 now with Hills and Corals for the Vodafone Derby.
Well, John Gosden's got 19 horses currently in the Derby. I'll be astonished if he doesn't leave this one in at the next forfeit stage and see how things develop, because, as Max already said, the bookmaker's quite impressed. 4-runner races can often be misleading, but he beat 3 previous winners in his rivals here, and John was making the point about strides.
Yeah, you can see the horse in front, Solar Flight, scratching along compared to the horse on his far side. Probably get a better picture just as Frankie heads Solar Flight and Pat Edry. Just look at the amount of ground he's covering compared to the others. The eventual 4th horse home here, last of 4, Anchor Clever, he was always hanging. I just thought the ground maybe was a little bit on the far side for him and making him difficult for Jason Weaver to ride. At this stage, Pat's given up the ghost on Solar Flight. Sotter Boy, the only one to go in. Well, he's not really thrown a challenge down, but he's just following home closer than any of the others. This horse has come home looking really powering up this hill. You won't see many horses finish as easily as this. They went a good clip all the way, finishes easily, stamina, pace, got the right attitude, and he didn't look as though he'd have blown a candle out when he pulled up. So 11 lengths, that looked fairly conservative. Here's the SP totes for Roy.
Thanks, John. Yes, presenting found his £3 penalty, no problem at all. First, number 1, presenting 2-1 on favourite. Second, number 2, Anchor Clever, 25-1. And third, number 4, Soto Boy at 6-1. The totes win number 1, £1.40. The dual forecast, £5 exactly. And the CSF, £7.66. 4 round. The 255 at Newton Abbot, number 7, Timels Brook, refused to race. And in the end, the Pipe Dunwoody Bangor winner went in again very easily. That was number 1, Mogoni Beach, 7-4 on favourite. Second, number 5, River Red at 4-1. And third, number 6, Rockane at 16-1. The non-runner there was number 4, Reltic, 8 round.
John Gosden, seen his horse come really storming home, a very good time too.
Yes, it was a good time, because the competition didn't turn out to be much, so we needed to have something to reassure us, but the time was good. Frankie was delighted with the horse. He followed the other horse that Wood Ditton well. I don't think that Wood Ditton form's bad, mind you. And he followed him well. And then 2 out, he said he'd gone on. 3 out, and 2 out, he was just a little bit lazy, so he just shook him up, waved the stick at him, and he flew on home. So you've got to be pleased.
You say a bit late, he took his time to win at Kempton. Would you give him another race before the Derby?
Dante. Yeah, the plan has always been to go to the Dante. And I've always felt him a somewhat idle individual. At home, you can just get him to draw up to his lead horse, and then he just drops a lot. I mean, to watch him work, he would say, who is that old donkey, you know. But he's just that kind of horse. I like that in a horse who's meant to stay, you know.
And John, he's quite a big, heavy horse. How would he adapt, perhaps?
Well, it's a good question. He likes top of the ground, so as long as they don't water too much and have thunderstorms will be okay.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
does not like soft ground, definitely.
Really?
And he wouldn't be going if he got soft ground anyway. He hates it. He's out of a Persian Bull mare, and they tend to like to bounce a bit. I think he'll handle a track like that if he's good enough to go there on the day, because he's got a lovely low, even action. And even though he's a tall horse, he's beautifully balanced.
John,
so I think he'll be all right.
You've got about 16 Derby entries. I mean, is he good enough as a Derby?
Well, he was always our Derby horse. I mean, you know, you can't just sort of pluck them out of the sky. The reason was many left in was because they were so ill last year, we didn't know what we got. And it's stupid to take them out when someone owns a horse for £750 and you don't know what you've got. And I'm pleased I've left a couple in, actually, like Tommo. But this horse he won last year. He won a listed race at Ascot last year. We've always felt that if we did have a Derby horse, this was likely to be it, although I did mention another horse just now who I like a lot.
That Tommo who runs it in tomorrow?
He runs tomorrow, yeah, I like him a lot. Again in a 4-horse race. Doesn't tell you much. Sometimes you wind up with a Mickey Mouse run race and a false result.
Well, John, tomorrow you're not involved in 2,000 guineas, therefore you can give us an unbiased opinion without the hype. What's your view on that? Will Celtic Swing
Well, I
be
think
caught?
it's the most exciting guineas since we saw Brigadier Gerard Milreef and My Swallow here, which to me was the most phenomenal horse race. And I think it's at that level for our game, and it's the most exciting prospect. Celtic Swing's a great machine. I loved the way he relaxed. He was nonchalant in his, his attitude at Newbury. He wandered down to the start. He took the running up and then just sort of looked at the cameras, and I thought he was impressive. He'll take all the beating. But the French duet, they're a pretty frightening combination. I mean, to ride Diffident would be fun because you can sit and sit and sit and sit and leave it till everyone says you've left it too late, knowing you've got that kick. So he makes an exciting part of the race. And then the other horse, Pennycamp, we know is a class horse who is bred to stay 1.5 miles. So, I mean, it's a great Derby trial apart from anything else.
Do you think they will be applauding Celtic Swing tomorrow evening?
I would be surprised if we weren't, and I think for racing it would be a good thing if we were. But obviously, ownership-wise, one would have affinities elsewhere. But I think to me, it's the Derby trial as well as the Guineas. That's the fascinating thing about the race.
It's a great day, thank you.
Okay.
Now the trophy presentation.
Let's go to the dart. Well, ladies and gentlemen, following Presenting's very impressive victory in the Madigan's Newmarket Stakes, a listed event, of course, we now come to the presentation of the trophy. And to make that presentation, we're delighted to welcome Hilary Butler, who has done such a tremendous job in promoting the 1995 Madigan's Guineas Festival. She's found a little time to take off from her hectic schedule to join us in the winner's enclosure to present the trophy. It's going to be received on behalf of the winning owner, Mr. George Strawbridge, by Mr. James Wigan. James, if we could ask you to step forward to receive the trophy with our congratulations. Well done.
Here are the starting prices for the third race. First, number 1 presenting the 1-2 favourites. Second, number 2, Anchor Clever, 25-1.
Now then, dial your duo. Did you get presenting Anchor Clever or Sodo Boy? Well, David Newell did. Well done, David. £100 to you from Putney in London. And if you'd like to try and win £100, we've got another one coming up on the 340, the next race. Pick 2 to finish in the first 3. You could win £100, and it's a different number. This number is 0891 777 933.
Well, you heard John Gosden there, seemed very bullish about presenting. All 3 firms are going 20-1 presenting for the Vodafone Derby, but that is being taken, I've heard it taken on the course. So if you fancy presenting for the Vodafone Derby, you want to take that 20-1, it can only shorten up. And the bookmakers report that more than £100,000 was staked on presenting just for the Newmarket Stakes at 2-1 on, and less prices than that, 7-4 on and 6-4 on. Really well backed here. The whole of Newmarket knew about it. It looked as though it was going to win easily, and it did. 20-1 for the Vodafone Derby. That's the price to take, and get on now. If you fancy it, it will be shorter.
Yes, Tikkanen, the horse who won the Breeders' Cup over from France in our next race. Also, what does Frankie Dettori think of the Derby chances of presenting he rode in that last race? And has Willie Carson done the right thing choosing Acarid in front of Haraya? That's next.
On television, I'm going to be a laughing stock.
This is the original Colour Magic car polish from Turtle Wax, rated #1 by Auto Trade magazine.
It's colour enriched to blend with your car's colour. When you polish, minor scratches disappear like magic. Just pick the colour closest to your car's finish and see how Colour Magic blends in to enhance the true colour and polish off those imperfections. One easy application leaves a brilliant deep gloss shine that can last up to 12 months. The original Turtle Wax Colour Magic. Seeing is believing.
Fight mildew with new Duck Mildew Remover to leave your bathroom mildew-free. New Duck Mildew Remover.
Have you seen the size of these chalky nut clusters? Of course, I designed them.
New chocolate and nut clusters from Gino Ginelli.
Churchill could save you money on your car insurance. Call one of our people now and see how much you could save. You'll be surprised. Call Churchill free on 0800 200 300 for an instant quote, even instant colour. Right?
That's right. Free on 0800 200 300.
Call Churchill now and see how much you could save. Free on 0800 200 300. Churchill 0800 200 300.
According to our research, new policyholders could save an average of around £50 when they switch to Sun Alliance Home Direct. To find out how much you could save, get ready to call us.
Not far now. Get the kettle on, eh? Come on, then.
With Sun Alliance Home Direct, you choose the value of your cover, so you only pay for exactly what you need. As you'd expect, you'll get new for old cover. And our 24-hour helpline could prove invaluable when things go wrong.
Hello, Sun Alliance Assistance. How can I help you?
A bit of a flood.
Don't you worry, Mr. Roberts. We'll have a plumber with you straight away.
No matter where you live, call 0800 800 200 now for an instant quote. And news of special discounts up to 25%. Complete reassurance at direct prices is just a free call away on 0800 800 200. Lines are open now.
To clean the grease in your kitchen, there's Jif Micro Liquid. Now with its new improved micro power. Just one capful in a bucket of water, and compared with big bottle cleaners, there are no streaks when it dries, so it shines brighter. And on greasy dirt, its performance is dazzling. Improved Jif Micro Liquid cleans to a bigger, brighter shine all around the home. That's the power of Jif.
If you want beautiful hair, there's Organics. The only shampoo with glucosil, a natural nutrient which nourishes your hair's living roots. The results are a revelation. Your hair shines with health and beauty. Organics from the Elida Hair Institute. Healthy looking from the root, beautiful to the tip.
The first ever Easy Glide Rollerball Antiperspirant from Vaseline is bigger, so a stroke is all it takes.
Yes, the Arab influence in horse racing is ever spreading, though I slightly wonder if that bumped into too many racehorses in their string. Certainly not like Sheikh Hamdan, who has the top two, as you know, in the English 1,000 guineas betting on Sunday. And we look at that, and of course the top two are the dilemma for Willie Carson, Acrid, who is now favourite of his choice, then Herrera, who ran so well, and just to get beaten by difference in the 1,000 in the trial here at Newmarket. Moonshell, who's flown in from Dubai, is 5-1. Macumba, the French filly, 8-1. Myself, who won so well here at the Craig meeting, 8-1. Epigris, Henry Cecil's filly, at 10s. Gay Gallant, Michael Stout, 16s. Home Magic, 20-1. Some people think she may come back to form. All-time great 40s, and big outsiders, Autumn Affair and Brief Glimpse.
So how difficult a decision was it for Willie Carson to choose Acrid or Herrera? You've gone for Acrid. Why?
Well, I think, well, I'm hoping it should be the best filly on the day.
Yeah.
They're two very nice fillies.
Both fillies have done nothing wrong this year. Both have come through their trials very well. They've all got plus marks beside them, and I've had to choose between the two. So I've chose the one that's unbeaten. She's won a Group 1 race, and hopefully there's a little bit more in the tank.
The press have been saying you've had sleepless nights thinking about this. Have you or not? I don't. I think you sleep pretty well. Yes. The true story is...
Not a win.
You still sleep as good as ever. Will you be sleeping as well as ever tonight? I mean, you've been here before, you've done it before, but the Guineas?
I'll have a sleepless night, so I've chosen the wrong one.
You would?
Yeah.
How confident are you that you've chosen the right one? Because I know Walter Swinburne's famous for always picking the wrong one. What's your record like?
Well, they say my record's quite good for picking the right one, especially in the classics. I don't think I've made the wrong one yet, but it's always a first time.
What about the dangers, Will? Epegree's been working very well here. Macumba comes over from France. They say that word brilliantly, but will she get the trip? What are your big dangers?
Well, the filly coming from Dubai, Munchau, they're shouting about her, and they've had trial races for us. If she's not a filly, you might think she's a filly who's only had one race, but she's not. She's a filly who's had plenty of racing because she's raced out of barriers over there. They've done everything that they could do for the filly, so she won't run green. And if she's good enough, she'll win. But she has to be good enough, of course, but we don't know the answer to that. I would think that would be one of the big dangers, Munchau.
I think she's going to go well. I saw her on the gallops Wednesday morning, and she looked very, very nice indeed. She did a canter up the poly track. What about the Guineas? The 2,000 Guineas tomorrow. It's the Colts. You've chosen Bari in preference to Nuamis. How difficult a decision was that?
Well, I left a bit to John in a way because we think Nuamis is a better horse than Bari. But when he ran here, he ran very green, and he got unbalanced coming down the hill on the firm ground. You know, we're not going to get the rain. If it had rained, I would have rode Nuamis.
No, I mean, Bari ran a cracker at Newbury. I mean, you were only, what, length and a half behind the great Celtic Swing, staying on.
I was staying on, yeah. I'm not going to beat Celtic Swing, I don't see that. I'm hoping, of course, but I can't really see it because Bari's just got to get the trip. It's another furlong further. I've got it in the back of the mind he might not stay, but I'll have to go out there and think that he does stay the race, the trip, and he'll go well on the ground. And as you said, he's finished very close to Celtic Swing, so I'm riding him against my better judgment in a way, because I do like the other horse. I do like the other horse.
But what about Celtic Swing? Is he beatable? Is he the great horse? I mean, you were just...
That was a nice strong bell.
It was, wasn't
it? But getting back to the point, I think he's beatable in the 2,000 Guineas.
Right.
Because I finished a little bit close to him, and I thought if I'd beat my horse up at Newbury, I would have finished even closer, and if I'd finished within a neck of him, everybody would have been going, ooh, ooh.
Yeah, true.
So I know the horse pricked his ears and wasn't doing anything last furlong, but I think the 2,000 Guineas is the race that we've got a chance of beating him. I don't think we'll beat him in the Derby or the St. Leger because he's from a lovely staying family. I think our only chance of beating him is in the 2,000 Guineas.
And that is tomorrow. But what about the two French horses? I mean, Diffident. I mean, it's not very big. Speed horse. Will he get the trip?
Will he get the trip? That's the big thing. If he gets the trip and well, they might take the speed out of him.
Yeah.
Nice little horse, small little horse, will go on the ground. But the horse that's from France, the stable companion's got Pennycamp. He's got a big reputation. And they say that he's a staying horse as well. He's a 1.5 mile horse on breeding. He's a horse that will come home. And he could be the one that is the biggest danger to Celtic Swing.
Willie Carson.
And myself, I hope.
And of course. So, Willie Carson thinks Celtic Swing is beatable. If they are going to beat him, then tomorrow could be the day. 3:40 tomorrow. It's live on 4. Thanks, Willie.
And a huge weekend it is for Willie Carson. Has he chosen wrong, especially in the Madigan's 1,000 Guineas? I've given him my advice to be on Haraya. He's gone for Akarid. Who knows more, Willie Carson or me? I'll leave you to go and judge that. Now, looking at the Madigan's 2,000 Guineas, Celtic Swing is likely to go off the 10th odds-on chance in the 2,000 Guineas this century, and 7 have already won. You remember Zaphonic 2 years ago sent off 6-5 on Zaphonic and broke the track record when he won. In the 80s at odds-on, Doyoun and Shadid. Nijinsky, the last horse to win the Colts Triple Crown, that was in 1970, was 7-4 on when beating Yellow God. King George VI Big Game in 1942 was odds-on. Colombo 7-2 on in 1934 with Ray Johnston, and in 1907 Sleeve Galleon. But there have been 2 odds-on flops. Vincent O'Brien's Appalachie, ridden by Lester Piggott in 1974. The French colt Nono Alco won that. A French colt upset the odds. Remember, those who think the French Tomorrow with Penny Camp and Diffident could floor Celtic Swing, when Nono Alco helped to floor Appalachie. And in 1909, Bayardo, who won 22 of his 25 races, failed in the Guineas and the Derby. And in the Guineas, he was 13-8 on when only fourth to Minaroo. So looking at the betting now, the bookmakers are generally obviously going odds on, and Ladbrokes are going 5-4 on Celtic Swing. With 130 you can get with Hill's Penny Camp, 5 Diffident, and it's 16-1, bar the 3. But my great advice to you is come racing, bet the odds on if you want to, tax-free. But don't forget Penny Camp and Diffident. They'll be attacking coming out of Bushes Hill. Celtic Swing in front, the Frenchman poised behind it. You can't miss this, one of the great races of all time. Will he be able to, in the catbird seat, attacking Celtic Swing?
We've told him not to peak too soon, but he hasn't listened to us. But that was all tomorrow. The important thing is this big race here now. The Madigan's Jockey Club Stakes is a really decent race in its own right. It's Group 2. It's got the Italian Derby with a time star. Tickon, who ended up as the outstanding 3-year-old from Europe in that he won both the International at Woodbine and he won the Breeders' Cup really impressively at the end. So here's a horse of really top class, back in action. Tikkanen, who heads the field of 7 for the Madigan's Jockey Club Stakes, a mile and a half, more than 30,000 to the winner.
And Tikkanen has won over £1 million in winner place prize money. They have between them won over £1.75 million. And the trouble is, where is the pace coming from? Ask yourself that. Tikkanen, the 7-4 favourite. Cash Asmussen. Time Star can front run at 8-1. Richard Quinn. Sacrament at 7-2 is ridden by Walter Swinburne. And Only Royale at 7-2 by Frankie Dettori. Al Riffer is blinkered, drawn 2. Patenary rides at 6-1. Garden of Heaven at 20-1. Michael Kinane. Visor for the first time. Wayne County 100-1. And Michael Wiggum. Runners to post.
Along the hall down to this mile and a half start, some 10 minutes before the off. We'll join them when they get to the stalls.
What I call belief. B&Q it, you can do it when you B&Q it. When it's time for new, B&Q it, we can fit it too. B&Q it, you can do it when you B&Q it. Going to make it yours. B&Q it.
There's so many doors.
B&Q it, you can do it when you B&Q it.
If you were born between 1915 and 1945, you'll remember these street parties. There was plenty to celebrate then, and there's reason to celebrate now. You've reached the age when you are guaranteed to be accepted for low-cost life insurance from Sun Life. From just £6 a month, equivalent to just 20 pence a day, you can secure a cash sum payable on death to help with funeral expenses, to leave to your partner or loved ones, or perhaps to benefit a favourite charity. And the best news of all is that you won't have to take a medical examination or answer any questions about your health to get this cover. That's right. Provided you're aged between 50 and 80, you are guaranteed to be accepted for the Sun Life Over 50 plan, regardless of your state of health. For full details of how Sun Life can accept you for lifelong insurance cover, call this free phone number now, 0800 55 60 60. There's no obligation and no salesman will call. You will receive your information pack and a personal quotation by post. Apply now and you can get this attractive set of period pictures absolutely free to welcome you as a policyholder. You can also get your first month's cover free if you act promptly. Age certainly has its compensations when you can get guaranteed life insurance with the over 50 plan. So look forward to lifelong peace of mind with Sun Life. Call this free phone number now, 0800 55 60 60. The lines are open, so call now.
Heartburn. Get Bisodol Heartburn. Fast-acting relief plus a special ingredient for lasting protection. It acts fast and lasts.
Today is Victory in Europe Day.
It's Chas and Dave's VE Day Street Party. 50 victorious songs. It's the greatest party ever.
If, like Rex, you detest weeds, here is Roundup, a biodegradable weed killer. It penetrates through the weed and destroys it from the inside right down to the roots, without harming the soil. Roundup, biodegradable weed killer, leaving Rex free to enjoy his bone.
Oh, the sunshine and the summer. Years ago, there was a otherwise unmemorable film with Natalie Wood. It had a lovely title. It was called Splendor in the Grass. And some of the shots we've seen around today have been exactly that. Well, she's a terror on the grass, I should think. But I did see someone a bit older than her, who I definitely would describe, if not Natalie Wood, as a splendor in the grass. No, he's not either. Anyway, I think perhaps they've drawn a veil over the lady I saw in what you might call extremely summery costume, or what John Oakesy likes to call as a tennis kit. He's got rather too many clothes on. I don't know quite what that indication was, but perhaps they don't like the cameras. Right, enough of this, as they say. I won't tell you what one of the horses was doing in the paddock either, but here they are. They've got to the start, and 7 very interesting ones for this Group 2 Madigan's Jockey Club Stakes. Let's have a word from Jim McGrath and John Franklin.
Well, there's Al Riffa, ridden by Pat Edery, bred by Pat Edery, and 12 months ago, a lot of us were talking about this as well, just about a prospective champion, because he won the Slip Anchor Stakes, or the equivalent of the Slip Anchor Stakes, in tremendous style, equally as impressively as Presenting has just done, and went for the French Derby with high hopes. Didn't quite come up to scratch there. Third, not a bad run, but thereafter didn't really reach the levels I think everybody had hoped for. Ran a little bit lazily in a well-contested event at Kempton on his reappearance, and is equipped with blinkers again today. I think Pat Edery, who knows him very well, feels that the horse just saves a little bit for himself, John.
Well, he's run twice against Tickenham in the French and Irish derbies, and he's finished in front of this French challenger on both occasions, but he looked to improve dramatically towards the end of the season, winning twice in America, ended up winning the Breeders' Cup Turf. A very impressive individual.
Looks wonderfully well. Vastly improved form in America on his last 2 starts, but if you look through his pedigree, he's by a sire who didn't run till he was 3. He's a half-brother to the very good French there, 3 parts brother in point of fact, called Turgeon. Both Tickenham and Turgeon are famous ice hockey players, John.
Well, that very appropriate on a hot afternoon. Let's have a betting show from Rawley.
And this is how it is, John. Tickenham in from 15 to 8 to 7 to 4. Very definite favourite indeed. Joint second favourites at the moment, Only Royale and Sacrament, both at 7 to 2. Al Riffa, a point easier, 7s now from 6s. And in a point from 8s to 7s, Time Star. It's 25s, Garden of Heaven, and 66 to 1, Wayne County.
It's only 2 places.
Well, the dual Yorkshire Oaks winner is in this field, Only Royale, and Frankie Dettori riding this filly for Luca Kamani, and she also went out to America for that Breeders' Cup Turf, finished somewhere adrift of Tickenham, but she looks remarkably well for her first run. Sometimes she doesn't come to herself until later on in the season.
That's an interesting point, because early last year she didn't come in her coat or look that well when she started her racing. But Luca's, by all accounts, changed her routine, John. Instead of turning her out at the stud, she's been kept in and ridden out every day during the winter. And as you say, certainly before She went onto the track when she got a little bit warm, but she has, of course, cantered down. She did look well. But nothing looked better than number 1, Tikkanen, the French challenger. A strong gallop will be needed for him to show his best. It'll be interesting to see whether we get that. On the course, Graham liked the way Sacrament moved down. He didn't like the way Al Riffa went to post. In the ring, they're coming for Time Star, and they're not interested in Only Royale.
Well, the reason Time Star hasn't run since winning last year's Italian Derby is the fact that he had a twisted gut, had to undergo an operation. Paul Cole, his trainer, said that he's done plenty of work, he's fit enough, just thought that maybe he might just be a little bit ring rusty, but certainly looks up to doing himself justice. He's a lovely big horse, this, and certainly one with plenty of improvement, I should think. Well, Sacrament was one of the other half of a very good double at York one day last year for Walter Swinburne. You may remember this horse really sticking his head out to get up in a photo finish. Very brave individual, having his first run of the season, but it looks as though he's done well throughout the winter.
And Sacrament is a 7-2 chance. Now this has been run at this meeting since 1963. 10 favourites and 32 runnings have won it, and Tikkanen has been backed. He's touched 2-1. It's now 7-4 Tikkanen, though I can now hear 15-8 is the price against it. 15-8 Tikkanen, and France did win this in 65 with Bal Masque, ridden by Bill Pyers, and a runner-up in the last 2 years with Apple Tree, and of course the St Leger winner Toulon was third to Sapience 3 years ago. 15-8 Tikkanen. It's then 7-2 Bar Sacrament, and a week only Royale out to 7-2, and then there's been some fair money for Time Star at 9-8, and now 7-1 Time Star, and a 13-2 against Al Riffa. But Time Star, that's the one being backed against the front 3. Not a lot of money for them.
And just one more to go in for this at Madigan's Jockey Club Stakes, and that's in the dark green jacket, Time Star. It's been off the course since winning the Italian Derby last year. And the 2 outsiders, Wayne County is already locked away in the stalls, Garden of Heaven as well. Didn't get a chance to have a good look at those. The big question here is, where is the pace going to come from? You heard GG worrying about that, and it's hard to find a definite front runner in this 7-runner lineup. We could be left with a false run race, and false run races often lead to phony results. Just about ready and racing now in the Madigan's Jockey Club Stakes as they break away, and they're going 2-1 the field, 2-1 Tikkanen on starting, and Tikkanen one of the first to show, but now being taken back in second place as Sacrament goes on under Walter Swinburne as they cover the first furlong and race through the running gap which breaks up the Devil's Dyke here. They'll soon be turning right-handed and face up to the heath, and it's Sacrament with now Wayne County racing freely. Tikkanen towards the outside, can't get any cover at the moment. Time Star is fourth towards the inside, and then back behind those is Al Riffa, and then towards the rear Only Royale, the mare, demoting Garden of Heaven to last place. 9 furlongs in front of them, flat heath, and it's Sacrament doing the donkey work by a half length to Wayne County in the light blue visor in second place at 35 miles per hour. Sacrament bowling along merrily from Wayne County's second in the blue and yellow jacket. The dark green next on the inside is Time Star, and then the favourite Tikkanen in white with a green hoop under Cash Asmussen. A couple of lengths to Al Riffa in the headgear, orange and brown in black, and then the inside Only Royale, and last still is Garden of Heaven there, number 6. Heading down inside the final 7 furlongs now, and Sacrament, the pace appears to be increasing by a length and a half of this leader to Wayne County and Time Star. Tikkanen is handy in 4th place, and they're followed by Only Royale tucked away from Al Riffa, and still Garden of Heaven is tail end Charlie. Down towards the final 5.5 furlongs, and Sacrament trying to make all the running here, still out in front by a length to Time Star, who's nicely poised. Tikkanen is next in 4th. Have they gone fast enough for the favourite, I wonder? Al Riffa nearest the camera in 5th, and then back to the light blue of Only Royale, and Garden of Heaven has never been out of last place. Heading down to the final half mile, here's Graham Good in the grandstand.
And the rank outside of Wayne County is still there. Here comes Tikkanen now. Riffa scratching up on the outside to come and join Sacrament, with Time Star coming through next to the rails and travelling strongly. They've got under 3 to go. On the left, Time Star just edging into the lead. Here goes Tikkanen in the white jacket. Between the pair is Sacrament, who's rallying. On the extreme right in the light blue comes Only Royale. Further right in the visors, Al Riffa as they race down to the dip. Just over a furlong to go. And it's Only Royale who's come from last to come and take Tikkanen, with Sacrament back in 3rd. Tikkanen and Only Royale do battle as they come inside the final furlong. And it's only Royale in the blue colours who asserts. Tickenham digging deep and tries to find more. Only Royale and Tickenham, head for head, they go to the line. It's only Royale who takes it. Only Royale, Tickenham the 1-2, Time Star, and Sacramento the 3-4. Then our Riffer in front of the two outsiders, Garden of Heaven and Wayne County, who was last of all. And so the result then of this, the Madigan's Jockey Club Stakes, it's gone to horse number 4, Only Royale, at 4-1 in the colours of Mr. Frank Stronach, trained here at Newmarket by Luca Cumani and bred at the Barrettstown Stud. Ridden by Frankie Dettori, so he is very much the man in form here today. Second horse home is number 1, Tickenham, in the colours of Mr. George Stallbridge, trained in France by Jonathan Pease and ridden by Cash Asmussen. And the third horse home is number 2, Time Star, in the colours of Prince Fahd Salman, trained at Wackham by Paul Cole and ridden by Richard Quinn, who had a dream run through on the rails on the extreme left, but the action is on the extreme right, with Only Royale and Tickenham doing battle. Tickenham has won more than £1 million in prize money, but had to play second fiddle to Only Royale, twice winner of the Yorkshire Oaks, and clearly benefiting from this new training regime that Jim told us about before the race.
Well, a really first-class ride for Frankie Dettori there. He was absolutely cruising and looked like he was certain to win running into the dip, John, but a bit of a dilemma up the hill for a jockey on a filly first time out, to give her a smack or not. In the end, I think he gave her 2 and really sat down and rode a rhythmic finish on it.
Well, I think that was the case with the first and the second. Neither wanted the amounts to have hard races, and Cash Asmussen kept sitting, waiting for this horse to pick up in his own time. Really lovely mover, this Tickenham, and moved particularly well throughout the race. Always looked to be travelling nicely. Maybe just in need of the race, but you'd have to say that's probably the case with the filly Only Royale as well. She's reversed placings on their last run in America last year, and Frankie Dettori just giving her a backhander there with his whip, and I just felt that maybe Cash Asmussen was just quite easy on this horse. I think he was waiting, hoping there was going to be another day. He was getting everything that he could out of this horse without subjecting it to a really hard race. I think looking across, he probably felt that Frankie always just had him covered. Well, Big Mac, not much money for this one down in the ring, by all accounts.
Very easy to back, Greatest Jockey. Went out from 3-1 out to 4-1, third favourite, Only Royale. Many of us fancied her for the Arc last year and the Breeders' Cup. She goes in here at the now looking generous price of 4-1. The runner-up Tickenham sent off the 2-1 favourite, and the 4th consecutive year a French horse has been placed in the Jockey Club Cup. Apple Tree for the last 2 years, and before that Toulaw behind Sapience in '92. The third, the well-backed Time Star, a 7-1 chance, a certain future winner of a good race, that Time Star according to the market. And this Only Royale and Dettori, she's only the 4th filly or mare to win in 33 runnings at this meeting. Roseate turned 5 years ago, and in the 7th is Shabeen and Queen of Twilight were the girls to win this. Only Royale and 4-1. The distances were a neck and 2.5 lengths. Neck and 2.5 lengths. Applause going round for Only Royale, and to imagine she wins here at 4-1, and those of us who fancied her for the Arc and in America amazed at that return.
Well, Frank Stronach bought Only Royale just before the end of last season. The filly there had a bandage on her joint. Presumably she knocked that in a piece of work prior to this race. They're just checking that anxiously to see whether she perhaps aggravated it or reopened it. But what a start for Mr. Stronach. Only 5th, I suppose, on her first run in his colours, but a handsome dividend here. And John, she's come to hand earlier than usual. Do you think that's a good sign? She'll go on from this, or?
I would have thought so. She's a 6-year-old now. She's improved throughout her career, and it's very difficult. It's very easy to say, oh, well, Tickenham beat her quite easily over in America, and you never really can be totally sure how horses have travelled over there. It doesn't make such a difference as to how they arrive, in what condition, and their mental state. She's on her home ground today. Tickenham's had to do the travelling, and you can see she's got quite a nasty overreach there on that near 4.
Yes, looking close at it, she looks as if she's overreached on, as John said, on that near 4, and inevitably with these things there's quite a lot of blood at the moment, and she's not particularly happy in herself. Luca Cumani's over here Luca, just an overreaches, it looks...
I don't know, I think she must have got
there.
struck into by something. I can't really see where it is, there's too much blood. We have to clear up the blood and then see the extent of the wound.
It looks like it's on the same... She has a bandage, was there nothing in it?
No, but that's because she normally knocks the inside of her joint, but that's only knocking. That's a bit more serious than that, and it looks on the outside as though she might have clipped heels with another horse.
And Luca, just for viewers at home, an overreach is actually, if it's an overreach, it's by her own hind legs coming up to the...
Well, I don't think that is an overreach. Normally with overreaches you don't get that much blood. I think that she's probably just touched, clipped heels with another horse, and the shoe of the other horse might have just broken the skin.
Yeah, when you think how hard that is going.
Yeah.
Luca, but you changed her routine this winter, didn't you?
Yes, for the last 2 years in the winter we used to turn her out thinking she'd had a hard season and she would appreciate being out in the field for the winter and have a holiday. But she's a workaholic. She doesn't enjoy holidays.
Like herself.
She used to come back from the stud looking very hairy, not very happy, and it took her a long time, both last year and the year before, to get back into the swing of things. So this year, in agreement with our new owner, we decided to keep her in training all through the winter, keep her warm, keep her in her routine, which she loves, and it's worked.
Well,
she was pretty much fit. Not fit, I would say, but she was in very good shape and condition from the moment we started working, and she came along nicely in the gallops.
And things have been a little bit unlucky for me. She's done some very good performances in her career. She's been unlucky in the Arc.
Well, the Arc is her unlucky race. There's times, 2 years ago, she had that wayward French horse, whose name I've chosen to forget now.
Polo.
That cannoned into her twice, just as she was trying to make her running, and she would have been a lot closer than where she finished eventually. And last year, she didn't have any racing room, and even so, she was only beaten 2.5 lengths for the whole thing. So I don't know whether we're going to give it another try or not. It could be foolish to keep banging her head against the same thing. Or on the other hand, you could say that, twice unlucky. It's time she had a bit of luck. We'll see. There's plenty of time yet.
And look, all being well, she'll pitch at big things, or she's good enough.
I think her next should be the coronation at Epsom. But I'm a bit concerned about that. Obviously, we have to see the extent of that and how quickly it will heal.
And inevitably, on the eve of the Guineas, your view on the Celtic Swing, Pennycamp, Diffident, Painted Road deal?
I think, like everybody else, basically, that it's a race between Celtic Swing and Pennycamp. And I think that if Celtic Swing can kill the opposition off 3 out, as he normally does, then he's got it. But if Pennycamp is still sitting behind him with 2 to go, then it's going to be a hell of a fight.
And do you think he will? Do you think, tomorrow's the day, isn't it? We don't really know till now. Do you think he actually is that good that he will burn them off?
I think he's got a very good chance. He's done it all the time, but he's done it to inferior horses. He's never done it to a horse like Pennycamp. So tomorrow's the day.
And how big a deal do you think Sunday's going to be here at Newmarket?
I think it's going to be good. I think that's what racing wants. It's not very good for trainers and stable staff, but then we have to put up with it. But I think racing is a leisure sport. All other major sporting events are held on Sunday. It'd be absolutely foolish not to have our best races on a Sunday.
And you have your filly, all-time great in that 1,000. How's she?
She's very well. She's improved for a race in the Fred Darling. I know the form isn't really solid enough to give her a chance. Or a good chance, but she's come on for the race in the Fred Darling. She was slightly unlucky when she finished 4th, might have been 2nd or 3rd with a better run. Her sister finished 6th. We'll see if we can improve on that.
We'll see. Thank you.
Thanks.
A double of nearly 7-1 for champion jockey Frankie Dettori, following presenting in the previous race. First, number 4, Only Royale at 4-1. Second, number 1, Tickenon, the 2-1 favourite, and third, number 2, Time Star at 7-1. The total returns: win £5.50, places 240 and 180, and the dual forecast £3.80, 7 rounds.
Here's a man very much in form, the champion jockey, Frankie Dettori. The filly there?
Great, yes. She's an old favourite. I mean, she usually doesn't really come to herself until later part of the season. But she's been working fantastic. I went to ride her about 10 days ago and she was going great. And I took her in to beat. He likes fast ground, but everything went perfect for me, and she shows great courage to keep going at the end.
Here it comes. She did get struck into. There's quite a lot of blood afterwards. You didn't notice it in the race at all?
I think she overreached herself because she caught behind near 4. But I didn't feel any problem. Perhaps the ground was a touch too fast for me, but she's a.
It's when she gets her head slightly crooked.
That's right. She's been in all the major races in the world, so she knows how to fight.
And this is a good horse, Tickenon, isn't it? Look at the the others. He won the Breeders' Cup.
That's right. They're 2 fantastic horses, and we'll see lots of them around this year.
That's the good thing to look forward to. And of course, we've just seen you on presenting. Now, how much are we looking forward to him? He's a great, big, powerful horse.
Yes, well, so far he's been good. He's won his 4 out of 4. He won well at Kempton on a track but didn't really suit him because he's got a short straight, and I had a good knock the race before, so I wasn't really a full 100% in that race.
That's right, you were dead, weren't you?
Yeah, that's right.
And revived again.
But, I mean, 4 on a race, they're always a little bit tricky, but we went to true gallop and I took it up from 3.5 out, and there's no point coming here and just give him a canter, so I said, come on, let's go and stretch, you know, and he's got that beautiful power action, and they just lengthen and lengthen.
Yes, he's a great, big, powerful
Yes,
horse,
I mean, he's great because he's got little bit of speed at the beginning, and he's got a lot of stamina. I mean, no signs of him stopping here, just keeps using his stride.
I mean, he does look like a live Derby horse, so it's legitimate to say, how do you think he's going to handle the way to here, going down the undulations of Epsom?
Well, you never really know until you try. I don't know if my governor John's going to give him another race before the
Dante, he said.
Yes, and we'll have to see how he acts in the Danton, and then probably have to go to Epsom. But I mean, on today's race, you know, you think he'd be a live candidate for.
And then we talk about tomorrow's race, because that's as John was saying, that's a very good Derby trial tomorrow's race, isn't it?
Yeah.
What do you feel about Celtic Swing being picked off by the Abbott? Do you think he'll burn him off, or do you think they'll take him?
I've been a Celtic Swing fan all along. I mean,
on the first day.
Yes. Well, not really the first day because I didn't really know, but I was 20 lengths behind when when he beat me at Doncaster. I mean, he's got everything, and like last year towards the back end, he looked a little bit sweaty and a little bit keen, but he was so relaxed in Newbury. That's the way a good horse should be, and I think they got a hard job to beat him, I think, tomorrow.
But Pennycamp's a pretty good beast.
Oh yes, exactly. And I was speaking to Mr. Baldwin last weekend. I was staying with him. It could be a mere reef case when Brigadier Gerald was in the race, so it could be exceptionally great guineas this year. But I mean, he's a great champion. He showed it last year, and I still stick with him.
Well, talking of champions, you got your championship last year, a magnificent year for you, and indeed the Channel 4 viewers were so thrilled they voted you your Personality of the Year, following Mr. Pickett and Mary Reevely. So I've got a great duty. Let's pick this up. Let's get this up. You grab that. Raise it high. Another trophy for Frankie Dettori. So it's for the viewers. Do you get many letters from viewers? Do you get much contact?
Yes, I do, and I'd like to thank all the viewers for their support. But I mean, I had a fantastic year last year, and all my thanks go to Loxon, Balanchine and Barathia. They made the year for me, and all the people who supported me, and thank you to support me. And let's hope we do it again this year, anyhow.
Frankie, thanks very much.
Thanks.
And Frankie Dettori, a magnificent example for his profession. Tremendous advert for a jockey. Is Frankie Dettori so popular with the public? And he goes along with Celtic Swing. Just to give you how the big firms are going. Celtic Swing for the Madigans, 2,000 guineas, is 5-4 on with Ladbrokes, 11-8 on with Corals, 6-4 on with William Hill. That's the prices the big firms are going. But come racing on the course, John White on the boards is asking for 6-5. You can bet 6-5, no tax, on course at Newmarket, Celtic Swing. So don't bet it in the betting offices where it's roughly 2-1 on once you pay the 10%. On course, tax-free, 6-5 on is the price. Will any bookmaker dare go even money Celtic Swing tomorrow? Well, we'll see if they do. Now, looking at this race coming up here, first run in 1982, 5 favourites and 13 runnings, and the very early betting puts Lipizzana in the carpet, the 3-1 favourite, with 4-1 bar. That's number 7, Royal Rebuke, who's the steamer of the day. Really well backed each way, Royal Rebuke, to give Roger Charlton his second winner of the season, and 4-1 Zelaya put in at 4-1. It's then On the Shoulders, 9-2 Noble Kingdom, 5-1 against Pellman, and 8-1 Tyler, Mr. Far Eyes, River Keen, and Double Carpet, 33-1 The Rag, Impulsive Air. So here, Lipizzana the favourite, Royal Rebuke's the steamer of the day, but I cannot emphasise it strongly enough. If you want to lump on Celtic Swing, you have got to be here among the thousands at Newmarket tomorrow, betting it tax-free. Many of the bookmakers want to get Celtic Swing. They reckon that Pennycamp or Diffident could go and do the Wonder Horse.
Meanwhile, the 3:30 from Hamilton, this was the amateur riders race, and it was very close, going by a short head to number 6, Moonlight Calypso, at 33-1. Second, number 10, Said Victor, at 10-1, and third, number 3, Mental as Anything, 8-1. The unplaced favourite was number 13, Vintage Tattinger, at 9-4, 13 Ram. And at Newton Abbot, this was where there was a bit of a punt on Rathvinden House, back from 10s right down to 4-1, but he finished last of all. First, number 4, Wolf Winter, the 11-10 favourite. Second, number 1, Old Panto Prince, now 14 years old, 5-2. And third, number 3, Celtic Prince, at 11-2. Just 4 rounds.
The presentation, Jeremy Knight, the Corporate Finance Director on the right of Madigan's, the sponsors, presenting the trophy to Sarah Kamani, the wife of the winning trainer.
I've come down to the 7 furlong start to talk to the best looking bunch of fellas you've ever seen anywhere. These, of course, are the starting stall handlers. And do you remember at Kempton a couple of weeks ago, at the Easter weekend, do you remember the problems that we saw on TV with Sergeyev? The horse got very excited, somehow managed to get both his front legs over the rail of the next door stall. It looked as if it could be quite nasty. The horse could well have been injured. But how on earth were they going to disentangle the legs and get him back into his right stall? The beauty of these guys is that they're cool and calm in a crisis, and they managed to lift him up, get him out of the stalls without even suffering a small nick. And would you believe Sergeyev actually went on to win the race? Everybody was very impressed with the work these guys did, and that's the reason I've come down to talk to them, to see how they get problem horses in, out of the stalls. It really was remarkable. When you consider Sergeyev actually won the race, well, it's all down to these guys. Now, the team leader is Peter Hickley. Peter, are you trained for situations like that or what?
Well, you can't train lads to do as you just said, Derek, to get the horse's legs back. You can't have a horse in the stalls and say, put your legs over there and we'll put it back again. Exactly. You can't do that. Yeah. It's just something that comes with instinct. They're all horsey people. And as you say, in a crisis like that, they're all prepared to jump in there and they know the best possible way of getting it back again.
But I mean, it is very dangerous up there because the horse could go crazy, couldn't he? And
very dangerous, yeah. Oh, very dangerous. And the danger part is when his feet are actually going back over the rail, because he could go anywhere then.
Keith, you were one of the guys who actually jumped up quick there. What were your thoughts? Did you try and lift his legs over? Because you could have injured him.
Well, the other guy up was up there, Peter, was up there first, and he tried several different ways. And we was getting all the suggestions from the jockeys, you know, about 5 miles away, you know.
Yes.
But in the end, we come to the conclusion that our only chance was we put a quite underneath his forelegs and just tried to give it a... And luckily, after he come up and come back right down, you know, instead of flipping over, he just come back into his own stall and... Luckily, he was all right. Yeah.
And I mean, luckily he was all right, because we were saying, I mean, Oaksey, I remember saying on Channel 4, Frankham said he was all right. Oaksey said, well, if he was him, he'd have withdrawn him because he could have injured the all-important...
But the vet, I think Quinn was the jockey, wasn't he? Richard Quinn. Yeah. He was quite happy with the horse when he was sitting. Yeah. The vet checked him out, so he had all the attention he needed, so...
What other problems do you have? I mean, that was something to watch on TV. It was very exciting to watch, drama. What other problems, apart from possibly getting kicked once or twice?
Going under the front gates, under the back out the back gates, anything really. I mean, you name it, they can nearly do it.
Do you know the horses that can lash out and the bad ones?
As they tell you, I'm a newcomer to the game, so I don't really know much of them. I'm the newest recruit. Yeah.
What did you do before you joined this?
I was head lad for Kevin Pretty Gordon.
So you know all about and you can spot a bad one when you see it.
Yeah, we usually know when they come down anyway. They usually tell you if they're a bit funny.
Because you had a stalls test earlier on today. Horses that don't go in the stalls, they've got to have a stalls test to make certain?
Yes. One of them was for Italy, I believe, and they have to have a current British stalls test before they can run abroad.
And you have a big book. You know which horses...
Not me personally. The assistant starter has that. He does the pen pushing.
And he tells you this is bad, this is good,
this
is early, this is late?
Yeah.
Where's the man who's broken all his ribs? Where is he? Where's the good one? Charlie, come here, Charlie. He's the best looking one. Look at these teeth. I mean, he's got...
Shut up.
Where did you lose? Was it kicked out or tell us?
No. Nothing to do with horses whatsoever.
It wasn't the girlfriend, was it?
No.
Someone else's husband. Now, what happened to you? What's been your worst accident?
Well, getting broken ribs with a horse rushing in and knocking you in front gates.
Yeah.
When you're leading it in, they'll take off and just gallop in.
And what happened to you?
I broke 3 ribs.
Well, he actually smacked you?
Smacked me in the ribs.
Yeah.
Against the front gates.
Against the front gates?
Yes.
Nasty. But you still do it. Do you ever get frightened any time to put these horses in?
Well, you'd be a fool if you didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, they can't hurt you.
Yeah.
You know, I think one of the worst things I think can happen is being cow kicked.
Yeah.
It's when they brings the horse up, the horse brings it up. We stand beside it, and the closer you get the horse, the better.
Yeah.
well, they just bring the leg up, and turn the leg in, and kick you sideways.
Yeah.
That's when it hurts you. That's when it gets you in most vital places.
Now, fellas, it's Sunday racing this time, and I bet you're all pleased to be working Sunday, aren't you?
A little bit.
Hey, let's have a quick word. Yes.
We've got a bloke there. Where will I be on Sunday?
But what about it, though? I mean, it's good to be here. And how many teams are there altogether? Just a matter of interest of starting off.
5 now.
And you're the Southern boys?
Yeah.
And which are the best team in the...
Southern.
The Southern,
yeah.
Totally unbiased opinion there. A quick straw poll. The Southern team are the best. They'll be doing the business very soon. The horse will be coming down. But I think we all must remember these guys do a real good and dangerous job. Thanks, fellas. The drinks are on me.
And the heat is all too much. We talked about Splendor on the grass. That looks like Splendor on the car park, I think. But they didn't know we were looking. But it's a beautiful, beautiful day. It's going to be a really glorious festival here. And the jockeys coming out for our last race. So they come through here, Russell Price, River Keane, Willie Carson, who rides Peleman. Through there was Royal Rebuke with Pat Eddery. And there was the Michael Stouts rider, Walter Swinburne. Well, some sponsors make their own luck a little. That certainly seems to be true of the Madigan's 3-day Madigan's Guineas Festival, and what a glorious start it's been. Jockey Club Stakes, so Oni Royal put herself ready for some top honours this season. As Frankie dismounts, let's look at the other finishes.
On the extreme right, Lassyria with a noseband in the centre, and between the pair in yellow is Badger Bay. Further left with the light blue sleeves is current leader. On the extreme left in brown, Dancing Lottie. Come down into the dip, and here goes Capture the Moment into the lead, but travelling strongly is Foreman, the slow starter. They're inside the final furlong now, and it's Foreman who comes from last to first to take it up from Capture the Moment up towards the line. Foreman striding right away up the post. Foreman is the winner. Foreman takes it. Brave Revival still on the front end. Here goes Mr. Frosty further left. Look towards the right. Atlau Fullish with a flourish last time when he won at Kempton, but isn't doing so at this stage. Brave Revival still has the edge, just quickly up and going on by a length. Here comes Nordic Doll, the winner, the previous winner on the extreme right. They come down into the dip, and it's Brave Revival the far side and Nordic Doll, and these two do battle. And it's Nordic Doll and Brave Revival who's rallying. Going to be very close, this. Nordic Doll, the stand side, just getting on. Brave Revival's digging deep, and at the post, a photo. That's close. They come down past the two, and presenting now Spreading his field is clear by about 4, keeping up the gallop, and is clear by 5. Sutter Boy in second. Anchor Clever might just get third, indeed will so. Solar Flight's dropped back 4 to 4, but Presenting, who's won 3 out of 3 so far, makes it 4 out of 4. Frankie Dettori coming home well clear, 10 to 12 clear up towards the line. Presenting the winner, and a very easy one to boot.
The 2 o'clock went to number 5 Foreman at 14 to 1. The 2:35 number 1 Brave Revival at 6 to 1. The 3:05 number 1 Presenting, the 2 to 1 on favourite, and the 3:40 number 4 Only Royale at 4 to 1.
Championship tipster tomorrow. Tomorrow's races: 2:30, 3 o'clock, 3:40, 4:15, 4:45. 5 races. Remember, 3 selections per race. Points scored according to the SP. All those finishing in the first 3. And the highest aggregate will win £500. Now, your selections to register on this number, if you don't have it, 0891 99 1148. Repeat, 0891 99 1148. The lines are open from 6 o'clock tonight. The teletext and the others have the declared runners already, and it's a wonderful card tomorrow. Indeed, it's one of the most, one can honestly say, it's most anticipated flat racing days we've had for many, many years, and we're very lucky to be part of it. And we'll have a start for us early. We'll be out by the stables very early on, and at the morning line at 9 o'clock, Peter Saville will be here at this paddock as our guest live on the morning line. Celtic Views owner, who's full of opinion, extremely knowledgeable on racing, and a great passionate racegoer, and he's now got the horse that his enthusiasm deserves in Celtic Swing, who'll be bidding, it's bidding, not mess around, it's bidding for greatness tomorrow. And today, greatness comes in the March handicap. Greatness is any winner. There are two non-runners you heard about earlier on. That's number 5, Doctor's Glory, and number 11, Speedy Bird. It leaves 9 to be listed by Graham Good. 7 furlongs to trip.
And stalls positioned against the far rail, so stall 11 is the rail runner. Runners going down to the start then. Impulsive Air at 33 to 1 is partnered by David Harrison. Lipizzaner at 4 to 1 favourite by Michael Kinane. Noble Kingdom at 5 to 1 Richard Quinn, and Tyler at 8 to 1 by Darrell Holland. Doctor's Glory doesn't take part, so Frankie without a ride here. Mr. Fire Eyes is 10 to 1 with Michael Rimmer. Royal Rebuke 5 to 1 Pat Edery. Zidalia 5 to 1 with Walter Swinburne. Pelliman's partnered by Willie Carson, that's also a 5 to 1 chance, and River keenly priced at 10 to 1 with Russell Price. Speedy Bird doesn't take part. Plenty of pace in the race. Tyler can front run, Mr. Fire Eyes can front run, and Pelliman can front run as well. So pace guaranteed in this March handicap over 7.
Well, a cracker of a handicap to finish off with. Despite the fact that we've got a couple of non-runners, several of these have been promising or are already in good form. And although it's not the biggest crowd here today, I expect it's a fairly wide open betting heat. There's a horse that's been in great form, Mr. Fire Eyes, the mount of Mark Rimmer. We've seen Mr. Fire Eyes in winning action on Channel 4 already this season. On Lincoln Day, he took the 7 furlong supporting event in some style.
Watch out for Mr. Fire Eyes with a big white face on the stand side with Roy Boy, Katia bursting through. They head to the final furlong and a half. Mr. Fire Eyes took over there from Tyler. Then At Liberty in third. Roy Boy back in 4. Risky Romeo staying on wide. But inside the final furlong, it's Mr. Fire Eyes who's drawing away. Mr. Fire Eyes by 2-3 lengths to Tyler. Mr. Fire Eyes with fire in his belly and wins well. Tyler in second.
John, the weights there was just a pound between, rubbish, there was 19 pounds between Tyler and Mr. Fire Eyes. There's 2 this afternoon, that's a huge pull. Would you back Mr. Fire Eyes to confirm it?
Yeah, I think I'd still go along with him. He came to win his race at Beverley last time. It looked all over the winner and then just got a little bit tired. It's a long pull up that hill at Beverley, and I just feel if they just maybe just hold him up for a little bit longer, I think that suits him. Consider it's a hot afternoon, you seem to be taking everything in his stride. Tyler's a horse who's a quite interesting individual, as you can see from the picture. He's a tall, leggy, well, he's a son of Ballard Rock.
He's a very big horse.
Who was a big horse, and he's a horse who I can imagine improving throughout the season. He's been running well at a time when Mark Johnston's horses haven't been running well, which is in his favour.
Well, he ran well at Doncaster, but he was a big disappointment here in this handicap last time. And one assumes that Mark's horse, he was just a case of the Johnson team out of form. To the right of picture, yellow colours, blue cap, a very good run by Noble Kingdom, who can't contain Iblis up the hill, but runs well in a race, run in a fast time. Tyler beats only 1 home that day, but he's obviously a lot better than that, Tyler. And Noble Kingdom, having run well in what looked a competitive event there, the winner, incidentally, goes for the German Guineas and is a St James's Palace entry. So Noble Kingdom lost no defeat in trying to concede him weight. Again, Tyler has a rival here that holds sway over him, but a pull in the weights. I think on the evidence available, you certainly wouldn't back him or couldn't back him to beat Noble Kingdom, even allowing for the fact that he may have been wrong last time.
Well, there's some useful horses that finish behind Noble Kingdom, and I'd imagine something might have just spread a plate. There is Noble Kingdom, trained by Reg Akers. Richard Quinn just leading him round. 2 or 3 useful looking sorts finish behind him, and just raced with his head in the air slightly. I just wondered whether he was getting to the end of his tether there, or maybe it was just the fact that it was his first run of the season.
He's very keen, and that's why he's gone alone and early to post. He's been down at the start a good 5 minutes. The other runners also down at the start well before time too, which is why they've all dismounted. But Noble Kingdom must have been down at the start 6 or 7 minutes. Last time here he went very quietly and late to post. Today they took no chances, sent him early. If you've backed him, he'll be up there early. So too is Pelliman. John, you went and had a good look at them while I was listening to Willie Carson and Frankie Dettori, you were really impressed with this horse.
Yeah, the only thing was he got himself into a little bit of a sweat, but he's a typical 7 furlong horse. He's big, he's powerful, and he's easily the most impressive looking horse in the field. It's just a question of whether the fact that he's been sweating for quite some time, whether that's going to detract from his performance. If it doesn't, then certainly he was going to be my eye catcher anyway. I'm just going to take a punt. Let's have a look at the other eye catchers. Tyler, not surprisingly, on the way to the post, took Graham's Eye. Lovely, easy action horse. Impulsive Air didn't. Royal Rebuke, there was money for that one. That filly of Roger Charlton's down in the ring, but the horse of Barry Hill's Lipizzaner, who won here last time, well, he was easy to back. In fact, Lipizzaner 4th here at the last meeting. If I'd rather get it right in a minute, at Newbury, completely muddling him up with another horse ran earlier. Really, he's a lot to like about this horse, Jim.
Yeah, saw him win here last season. Just think that the handicapper knows a fair bit about him, and one or two of those a little bit further down the weights might have too much in hand on today's terms. Let's look at Royal Rebuke, the one the Mac noted money for early this morning. Well, this filly had several runs last season. A lot of people are attaching credence to the fact that she was second to Bari in a minor race at Nottingham late last season. Well, that day Bari did win terribly easily, but Royal Rebuke, I suppose, a good run to beat the others. On the balance of her other form, she'd have no more than a fair chance here, but it's obviously in her favour that Roger Charlton's team had a winner yesterday at Salisbury. They've had a relatively quiet start to the season.
And the bookmakers fear that Royal Rebuke hitting the frame. Plenty of each way bets for it. It is now 5-1, clear second favourite, Royal Rebuke, well backed on and off course. Now 5 favourites and 13 runnings have won it. Lipizzaner's eased out from 3-1 out to 4-1 favourite, and it's 11-2 bar the 2. That's Zelaya put in at 11-2, and also Noble Kingdom. Carson's horse Pellman out to 6-1, bit of money for Tyler, 8-1 now from 9's Tyler, and 10-1 Mr. Far Eyes and River Keen. But Royal Rebuke, the bookies fear this creature reaching the frame. If it's placed, bookmakers will be doing some of their money.
Nearest to us, or in stall 1, is Zelaya and Walter Swinburne. This is a very well-bred filly who improved with racing last season. One wouldn't have thought for an animal with some potential that she's excessively overburdened with 80, a mark of 80 today, and she's an interesting contender in what, as I said at the start of this, is a very well-contested event. Walter Swinburne, big race jockey in action this Saturday. Less exalted company he's keeping here in this handicap, where they're bet 4-1 favourite Lipizzaner, 5's Royal Rebuke, 11-2 Noble Kingdom, and Zelaya, 6-1 Pelliman, and it's 8 bar. It's the GG.
So plenty of pace on in this race. Tyler can go from the front. That'll be coming out of stall 11, the rail runner. Locked away then, that's on the extreme left. Tyler jumps out well and is shaken up by Darren Holland to go and force the pace. Pelliman front run when he won at Thirst from a bad draw, and these two share the work. A length behind these is Noble Kingdom showing 3rd. Mr. Fire Eyes settled 4. Then behind these River Keen in 5 with the Royal Rebuke in 6. But there's our leader. That's Tyler running the rail, striding out really aggressively. Then we have Pelliman in the hoop jacket showing 2nd. They're going at good pace. Noble Kingdom is 3rd. Mr. Fire Eyes in the yellow colours just this side of River Keen, the horse with the noseband. The red and yellow is Royal Rebuke, and that's getting a bit closer now. Further down the pack we have Lipizzaner, who's just a little bit pushed along, and then Impulsive Air, and behind that one Zelaya, who's the back marker. They really are sticking on the gas, and it's still just Tyler who has it, but River Keen racing through on the inside to come and share the work. Pelliman pushed along for Willie Carson, just over 2 to go, and River Keen has got the run of the rail. Tyler under a determined drive by Darrell. These two do battle, then comes Pelliman. From the back, Lipizzaner picking up, also Royal Rebuke, the horse with a big white face. They've come down into the dip, just over a furlong to go, and it's Royal Rebuke and Pat Edery centre light now, going on by a length to Lipizzaner in 2nd. Tyler's right out of it. It's Royal Rebuke who has it. Royal Rebuke starting clear by 2. Lipizzaner and Pelham battling for places, but it's Royal Rebuke who's going to take it at the post. Royal Rebuke is the winner. Lipizzaner second, Pelham third. Then came home Noble Kingdom in 4, just in front of Tyler Impulsive Air, Mr. Fire Eyes, Zilzalo, and the River Keen was last of all. And so the result then of this, the March Handicap. It's number 7 in the colours of Mr. M. Bryce Smith. Roger Charlton's trained Royal Rebuke at 5-1 has landed some tidy bets under Pat Edery, his 19th winner of the season. And this is the one that stole the march in the race to come and take it in the final furlong from the second horse home, Lipizzaner. The winner, Royal Rebuke, is the horse with the big white face. Second horse home, number 2, Lipizzaner, Mick Kinane rides. Third horse home is number 9, Pelham, perhaps run a little bit freely, but Pat's on his back of another winner, Royal Rebuke. The Charlton horses running well.
Well, if you back Royal Rebuke, and plenty of people have, by halfway you might have been a little bit concerned because, like everything else, bar Noble Kingdom, they were off the bridle. But coming down into the dip, the picture begins to change. And although Royal Rebuke drifts to her right into the whip, Pat Edery doing everything he can to keep her straight. She's not, you could say, exactly helping him, but she's probably just losing her action a little bit as we're in the dip now. John, as soon as she hits the rising ground, she lengthens and finds extra.
Yeah, she looks as though she wants further than this 7 furlongs because Pat was just sitting, suffering for quite a period of this race, and then as they began to slow as they hit the dip because they went a real good gallop from the outset, she just began to find her feet somewhat, and she's come away, probably won 3 or 4 lengths in the end. It was Lipizzaner who was given a fair bit of weight away to some of these, came out of the pack, but really the further she's gone, the better she's gone.
Royal Rebuke obliges on her debut as a 3-year-old. First, number 7, Royal Rebuke at 5-1. Second, number 2, Lipizzaner, the 4-1 favourite. And third, number 9, Pelham at 6-1. The 2 non-runners there were number 5, Doctor's Glory, and 11, Speedy Bird, 9 round. And at Hamilton, at last a favourite obliges there in the 3:55. First, number 1, Cool Edge, the 7-4 favourite. Second, number 3, My Cherrywell at 12-1. And third, number 5, Kanesha at 50-1, 8 round. And at Newton Abbot, a first success for Speaker's Corner in the yellow and blue colours made famous by the St. Ledger winner Snurge, owned by Michael Arbib. First, number 4, Speaker's House at 4-1. Second, number 2, Indie Rock at 7-1. And third, number 3, 9-3 at 8-1. The unsuccessful favourite, number 9, Tread the Boards at 2-1, 9 round.
Five races live tomorrow, the 2:30. There are 10 runners in that. At 3 o'clock, the Spring Maiden, just 6 in that, with some interesting ones. Then the Madigan's 2000, the 2,000 guineas, 11 runners, including all the big ones. Then the Dubai Racing Club Palace House, that's the best sprint of the season. So far, 14 runners that, including Piccolo, Al Yassef, Ovington, Blue Sour, and Bunty Boo. Very, very fast horses. And finally, 21 horses to confuse you in the Ladbrokes Handicap at 4:45. And on Sunday, don't forget, the first ever betting Sunday here in Britain, with a classic to boot. The Lord's Taverners Sunday Express starts 2 o'clock, our show at 2:30. Ladbrokes first Sunday handicap of 1.5 miles. The Pretty Polly Stakes, 1.25 miles at 3.5. And the first classic on a Sunday, the Madigan's 1000 at 3:45 on Sunday.
One thing we haven't given you is the result of the Dalio duo on the 340. If you got 2 of those 3, only Royale, Tickenon and Time Star, let's see if your name comes out of the hat. The winner is S. Errington from Camden Road in sunny Great Yarmouth. Well done. We'll have more picture puzzles tomorrow morning on the Morning Line.
One nice closing point. Luca Kumani just come up to me and told me that only Royale's cut on her near 4 was a surface cut the vein there. That's why there was so much blood pumping. It looks to be really quite minor, and she should repair. So let's close seeing her in her moment of glory this afternoon in the Jockey Club Stakes.
Only Royale. Further right into the advisors, Al Riffer as they race down to the dip, just over a furlong to go. And it's Only Royale who's come from last to come and take Tickenon, and Sacrament back in third. Tickenon and Only Royale do battle as they come inside the final furlong. And it's Only Royale in the blue colours who asserts. Tickenon digging deep and tries to find more. Only Royale and Tickenon head for head, they go to the line. It's Only Royale who takes it. Only Royale, Tickenon the 1-2.
Channel 4 Racing, sponsored by the Daily Mirror.
And for details of how to join the Channel 4 Punters Club, please turn to page 330 of Channel 4 Teletext.
Embrace your